This is the first in a series of 4 Advent meditations. This first one is titled God's Strange Battle Strategy. Advent encompasses the 4 weeks before Christmas. It's a time of waiting not only for the first coming of Christ as a baby, but also for his second coming as a king. This first Advent post is about that baby. One of my vivid memories of visiting London comes from the visit to the Churchill War Museum. It is housed in the actual underground bunkers where Churchill lived during World War II. All the actual furniture is there, even the red phone he used to call Roosevelt. But the most fascinating part to me was the map room, with a huge map of the world on the wall. You could still see the pinholes that marked the positions of military ships out in the ocean. Here's where Churchill and his war cabinet planned their battle strategies, including D-Day, that eventually brought the Axis alliance down. Here's where England was saved, along with Europe and America and other countries, from domination and tyranny. The Bible tells a story of another war, one between good and evil, between the tyranny of the devil and the love of the Father, between the domination of sin and the liberation of the gospel. And God definitely had a battle strategy by which he was going to win back the world. The prophet Isaiah in chapter 9 lets us in on this strategy in warlike language of conquest and victory. He speaks of God shattering the yoke that adversaries have laid on God's people and his breaking the rod of their oppressors. He describes a victory so complete that all military garb used by the enemy becomes fuel for a mighty bonfire. All of this is preceded by the joy of the people having been freed from enemies that have long tormented them. But so far in the passage, there is not one mention of how all this will happen. There is no hint of the battle strategy that God will use to invade and conquer. Now, what was God's master D-Day plan? Was it more firepower? Was it more military might? Was it decoys or ruses? Was it code breaking or parachutes landing or bombs dropping? No, it was none of these. It was something no one would have ever imagined. It was a baby. For to us a child is born. To us, a son is given. Verse 6. Nothing in Isaiah's passage prepares us for this shocker. It's a prophetic bombshell dropped into the landscape of history. But it is so like God. He thwarts the counsel of the wise and lifts up those on the trash heap. He delights to take what appears to be weak and fill it with his invincible power. When you hold a baby boy, you realize how weak and dependent he really is. Nothing could be more unlikely as a strategy for conquest. But the passage goes on to speak of this baby boy growing up to be a man, and this man becomes a king. Divine titles are given to him, such as Mighty God and Prince of Peace. But there is more. In verse 7 it states this, of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. It's just not that his peaceful rule will never end. It's that the increase of it will never end. It will continue to grow and spread and flourish forever and ever and ever. This mighty conqueror will shatter the power of sin. He will rout and defeat Satan, and he will break the rod of evil that has long oppressed this world. And he will do all this by another strange battle strategy. He will die on a cross. This Advent season, take some time to thank God for his strange battle strategy. Thank him for that baby boy who became a mighty conqueror. Thank him for shattering the power of sin in your life. Thank him for coming again to complete the conquest. And take some time of silence this Advent to wait on him. Next week will be Advent meditation number 2, saying yes to God.